The show is called The Next Chapter. I'm Amazon best-selling author Fred Hughes. What's the show about? Well, we talk about all things about the written word. Books, the editing of books, the creation of books, the publishing of books, the marketing of books. It's not just for prospective writers. It's for fans of writing, fans of various authors that I have on the show. So, Biz TV, way back in December, asked me to do a show about writing, and I was more than happy to promote both myself and the indie publishing scene. So to help support the authors that you know or don't know but should know, subscribe to the Biz TV YouTube channel and like this show. That way you'll get notified when the next one comes out. I think, what is this, 23 now, Stephanie? Something like that. The lovely Stephanie, my producer and engineer off to the side there. Subscribe and then like the show, and you'll find out what else is coming out. Shameless plug for my work, because why else, why do a show when you can't talk about your own stuff? A milestone event happened in my writing. The third book that I wrote in the Prince of Britannia saga, Prince Warleader, this week hit 1,500 reviews. That may not sound like a lot, but if you go on Amazon and start scrolling through books and see how many books have that many reviews. There aren't many. Only like 10% of the authors ever get this many reviews. Most authors never get more than 50 for a work, and Prince Warleader's got 1,500, and I'm very proud of this book. This was the third book that I wrote as an indie author, published it as an indie author, and later when I signed with Chris Kennedy Publishing, he took over the series and re-edited everything and spruced them up and made them, took my storytelling and polished up the how it looked in print, and it's still doing extremely well. I think it's like 11,000 in the Amazon store right now, so we're still selling strong. But that segues, and before I pass on it, just so you know, Prince Warleader was the third book in the series to reach the 1,500. Its two predecessors in the series, Book 2, Prince Commander, is currently at like 1,800 reviews. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. And the original book, Prince Awakens, is pushing 2,300. Actually, I think it just went over 2,300 reviews. Now, it's been out a year longer than these other books, but still, 2,300 reviews is a major milestone. Now, I will say this. All my books are exclusive to Amazon. So it's real easy for Amazon readers to give reviews to books and it show up on Amazon. If you're a major trade pub author, let's say if you read Brandon Sanderson or David Weber or Stephen King, and you go and look at their books on Amazon, you'll probably note that they don't have a lot of reviews. And that's because they don't sell a lot of books on Amazon. So unless someone goes on Goodreads and drops a review, it's not going to appear on Amazon, because the book had to have been purchased on Amazon for it to show up as an Amazon review. So if they sold the book at Barnes & Noble, it probably isn't it's not going to have a review, likely not have a review on Amazon. All right, having said that, today's guest, we're going to venture into a topic I know I haven't talked about on the show, and that's marketing using emails, newsletters. I'm sure a lot of you subscribe to various people's newsletters. Usually there's a freebie, I call it a hook, where you sign up for a newsletter and you get something free. Maybe it's a free short story, maybe it's a free book, but you sign up for the newsletter and you get something, in an email, an attachment in an email, and you download it and you can listen to a person's book for free. Alan Thobois runs a marketing service. It's not only about newsletters. If we pull up, and there he is, he'll be joining us in the second segment and talking about all different marketing strategies. And if I can get Stephanie to put up, here's the newsletter, my newsletter that Alan just put out. It came out yesterday. This is my August 2024 newsletter. There was some issues. We went several months without getting one out, and that's my fault, not his. But this is what a professionally, and no, I did not make the newsletter look like this. What I literally did was write up about a page worth of words that I want to, this has happened, that's happened, whatever. And Bruce took it and turned it into this really nice looking newsletter with imprints and back cover data for the different stories. There are links in there that you can click on. Now, this, as Stephanie's scrolling past, there's the little cover there for the big ones, the anthology that I have coming out in a couple of weeks. That was a preview cover, and so it didn't come out in the big format like the others did, but next newsletter, you'll see that in a full size. Now, here's the interesting thing, and this is what Bruce does with a newsletter. He will enroll your book, if you sign up with him, he will enroll your books in these different sites, like the August 24, Nightmare Whispers. It's a website that promotes books. Click on that and it'll take you to that web page. Same here, Sci-Fi and Fantasy, August 2024, free books. Click on that, it'll take you to a website where there are free books available to download. You will also find other books, like my books, on there where you can purchase it through that site. But that's all part of the promo to get your stuff noticed, because getting your stuff noticed is like extremely important, especially for new writers. You may think, well, and I put my newsletter up there just as an example. When I first started doing newsletters, I wasn't very good at it. I was doing them myself. I think I had like 50 or 60 people who had subscribed through my webpage. And then a writer friend of mine recommended Alan to me to take over running and producing my newsletters for me. And like I said, it's not just about the newsletters. It's about marketing your book on a variety of other sites to get them noticed by more people. Because the more people that see your book, the more people that are likely to read it or pick it up. Another thing as part of, and you'll hear Bruce and I talk about it during the show, he confided in me that he manages the newsletters for an author, and he has 7,000 subscribers, meaning 7,000 people get his newsletter. So meaning every month that 7,000 people get an email where he talks about his stuff, but he doesn't always also talk about his stuff. He'll be talking about other people's stuff. So if you're a new author, a sure way to succeed is to, I don't want to say go out and smooze up and make friends with a already established author, but if you have an established author that's a friend of yours and you have a new book out, drop them a line and say, hey, can you mention me in my new book in your next newsletter? And if you're friends with the guy who happens to have 7,000 subscribers, it means that 7,000 people who probably don't know anything about your writing will suddenly get an email saying that, oh, I really like this guy's book and you should go and buy it. So that's easy marketing, and it didn't cost you anything but whatever it cost you to put your own newsletter out. All right, when we come back from the break, I'll be talking to Alan Thobois about marketing and how to get let people find out where your books are. This is the next chapter, and I'm Fred Hughes. Welcome back. As advertised in the first segment, it's my pleasure to welcome Alan Thobois, marketing specialist. I think we decided that would be the best title for you, didn't we,
Absolutely.
Alan?
Yes.
So Alan offers unique services to authors, and he provides the services for me. He handles all of my, putting together and promulgating my newsletters, and he does that for a lot of other people, and has helped them be successful. So, but we'll talk about that some more later. So, Alan, marketing specialist, explain to the audience, or tell the audience, how you evolved into that position, because obviously you didn't start off 30 years ago in marketing.
No, I started off writing in the 70s and 80s, and I actually had some rejection slips that I really feel for the indie authors now, because I actually painted my wall with with those rejection slips. And at one point I gave up writing for a while, and now I'm doing my own writing on the side. But I also was injured a while back, and I ended up having more time on my hands to read. And so I found, to me, it was something new, was Kindle Unlimited, where I could get books, something like a library. You can go to Amazon for a small fee. You can get a book, turn it back in, get another, just like a library. But it allows me to get exposed to various artists, authors, by seeing what what they have. And that way I didn't have to spend a lot of money on it. If I don't like the author, move on. But if I like it, I end up buying the whole series, which I think is probably the point of it. And when I found out proofreading, I read, and I have what I call superpower. I can't let the issues in a book, there's missing spaces, or there's misspelled words, or wrong use of a word. And so I'll make a notation of it. And I sent these back to the authors as I was reading these books. And Jasper T. Scott, one of my favorite authors, said, you're finding more issues than my regular proofreaders are. Maybe you should monetize this. I said, well, I just want to help indies. And he said, well, here's how you do both. So we got started into that. And I really enjoy proofreading, because I can't help reading books. It's my thing. Behind me are my one signed by authors, because I worked with them. But the proofreading started out, and I really enjoyed that for the first 3 years. And then I got into marketing the books, because the promotions I came across, and I talked to my people about it. They said, yeah, we really like doing these newsletters. So I took some more classes, and I got involved in the marketing, and that's been really helpful to a lot of my clients, going, hey, I'm writing. The writer's lament, we spend half our day writing, the other half on business, when we really want to be writing. And so that's where I come in, and my family, we become a family deal, but we come in and we help with that. So I became an OBM, online business manager. I took classes in, LinkedIn and book promotions, and looked at all these things. And there's a lot of promotions out there that allow authors to add these to their newsletter. And the way the newsletters work is you get a promotion and you get a free book for signing up to their newsletter. And of course, you can unsubscribe anytime. But it allows you to see what the author's doing in their life and kind of feel more like you relate to your favorite authors that way. And this builds up the newsletters. And the next month, you have next week or next month, how often they do it, you have another promotion, and you get all these authors to 20, 30, sometimes 100 will have a book in this promotion. And you can get in there just by signing up to get their newsletter. You get a free book, and it allows you to taste before you buy, and that really is important to get an idea of what that author's doing. And so many people like the newsletters. I just help piece it together. They have to give me a basic idea. I get the coloring right. I get the mark, to match their brand. And it really seems to help their sales. And that's the main thing, is I want to help indie authors get ahead. It's a tough market out there.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that, I've talked a lot about to authors, both via, the show here and when I'm just talking to other authors. One of the favorite things, most authors, when they get together, we don't talk about writing. We talk about selling, marketing. That's what we talk about because, hey, we write books because there's a certain amount of passion involved. The amount depends on the author. But we want to continue writing books, and to do that, we need to make a little money on it. So, because publishing a book is not cheap. And most of us are not Brandon Sanderson and earning $10 million in a Kickstarter. So, so we start, you investigate the opportunities to try to sell your book, So, and I think your services, and not just the newsletter itself, because personally, I don't think newsletters sell that many books. But all the other things you add into that newsletter get a person's book in front of a bigger audience, and that's right. The key. So let's talk about the book promotions. We can start talking now, and then we'll continue into the next segment. But let's talk about the various book promotions. We'll start with the free ones, which are near and dear to my heart because I'm cheap. And a lot of people who aren't making much money as an author don't have the money to spend on a lot of promotions. So let's talk about the free promotions that are out there and what they can do for an author.
Well, I get a book from an author and I read it so I can include it in these promotions. So I understand the storyline and where it's going, that type of thing. And then I find the proper promotion. And places like Book Funnel is a free one. Book Cave is another one. And Story Origins, these are very popular ones. And you as an author get in there and like I say, you put your book in with this other group of people, 5, 10, 100, however many people get signed up for that particular one. And this seems to really draw people into it. So you have a newsletter, whatever information you put in there, but you also have an opportunity for people to get free books and they go, oh, I like this one or I don't like this one. And so I try to find the book promotion that matches your genre and subgenre. You may have a science fiction with a subgenre of romance. You may have a military science fiction. You may have, so many different genres and subgenres. And so I find the one that matches best to what you have. And that seems to work out very well for many of my clients.
All right. Well, so we're going to, after we come back from the break, we're going to talk a little bit more about specifically these different sites and what they can do for you, and what does it take to get a free book? I mean, what does it take for you to get a book out there for free? Because there's some hoops that you have to jump through. That's in the next segment. I'm Fred Hughes, and this is The Next Chapter. Welcome back. We're talking to Alan Thobois about marketing plans for indie authors or established authors. You know, he's not discriminating on who he'll help put newsletters out. But let's talk about someone has, you know, I know when we started this 6 months ago, I was a little late to the party as far as getting newsletters started. I provided you with a short story that I managed to get into digital format for MOBA's format, so people could easily download it. And we used that as what I guess is commonly referred to as the hook to, hey, sign up for Fred's newsletter and you'll get this free story. So how does that work? And if a person only has one book out so far, it's a little hard for them to give up the only thing that might be making money for free. So how does that work?
Well, in case of having just one book, you would put out a sample of your writing, either a few chapters out of that one, or something else that you've written and working on. Just a few chapters, give them a taste. If you have more books than that, maybe you have a series and you'll have put out a prequel. So I've got this story that hit real well, but I have a prequel story to it. There's always more background available to what you're writing. It's like, oh, I put this other character, I could do this other part of this. And that's very useful. Short story, novelette, full novel, prequels, all these work. It's just something to hook or a reader magnet, we call it, draw them into it. And major companies do this all the time. Hey, check out, you get a free package of something in the mail, and they want you to buy more stuff because of that. It's the same thing. You get a free, which it keeps your costs down. You're only getting a newsletter, not something that costs you an arm and a leg. And so you get a free newsletter that has opportunities to get more free books, and that works really well. So the author themselves would give me a copy of their book, and I would get the cover and how to connect with that, the link for that, and we put that into these promotions. And that's all the author really has to do, is just give me that information. I throw it in the ones that work for him, and then him or her. And that way their books get more exposure. And the cost is very low on that because my monthly fee is low, so that makes it really nice. And I'm here to help indies. That's the whole thing. I'm not here to become the next IBM, But if you can keep your costs down by, there's so many things that are involved. You write your book, that's great. That's the creative side of it. But the other side is the business side of it. How do I track my receipts? How do I plan for going to my meetings? I got to go to this next convention. And how do I track all that? And that's where sometimes you get a virtual assistant or a marketing specialist. Say, well, go in there and say, okay, I can help you with calendar. I can help you with getting your book into a promotion. And that's what really frees up your time, either for family or for more creativity.
So some of these book promotions, and you can, obviously, you're the ones that have set them up for me. You get, and I don't remember the sites because I have you to do that for me. But it's it's like, Super August sci-fi sale or whatever. And it's not so much a sale as much as it's just a promotion with a lot of like-minded books in the same category, isn't it?
Exactly, yes. Mm-hmm.
So
if you do your Kindle Unlimited, because that way they can borrow the book. You can give them a free sample or a free book. And so there's a lot, and so you can have some where they're in audiobooks now. So I've been approached by several of these promotions. But can you do audiobooks? You have a nice group of clients. Can you please get them into audiobooks? So again, I would get a copy of your audiobook and the information with it and put it in those promotions as opposed to the KU or the freebies. So there's a lot of ways of getting in there. And these promotions have thousands of people seeing them, anywhere from hundreds to thousands. And depending on the promotion, you really get some good feedback from it. So that's what I like, is I can see what comes back, what's working, what's not working, and how best to use your book into a different promotion. Maybe that one didn't turn out as well as the others. Put you another one, and suddenly you've got, many of your stories out there, and that's what's important.
Okay.
That exposure.
So now I have to jump into needy author situation where you're talking about Audible books, and I have a few. Long story that we won't get into in this interview, but the sixth book in my core series just came out with a new Audible book, and and the seventh is in production. So we're going to get all of my original series in Audible books, and then continue pushing on. But how does that work? Provide a digital version of the Audible book to post up for free, or an excerpt of it?
You would just show them that you have this Audible book available on Amazon or wherever you've got it, and then those promotions will link towards that. So you're not giving away a bunch of freebies that cost you so much, but it gives you the link to it. So they go, hey, we're doing Audibles. Here's a list of Audibles that are available.
Okay,
so
good.
that you can't afford to give away Audibles.
Well, not since we're not making anything on them anyway. I only do it to support the fans, because, as I've told them before, authors don't make anything on Audible. But it's something we need to. It's a product we need to provide to our fan base. But that brings up another interesting question. For someone, now obviously I doubt you have many major trade pub people who partake of your services, but like someone like me, well, you do have a trade pub people who?
I have a couple, but most of them have their own marketing area. The problem with getting into a trade, traditional marketing, is they'll take your book and they'll take a percentage of it, but they expect you to do most of the marketing. And so many of them are that way. Some aren't. There's some really good ones out there, but some of them expect you to do a lot of the marketing. And so you have to get someone like myself, one of these people that do marketing, and say, okay, let me help you out with, here's what you need. And that makes a big difference for the indies, particularly because you're struggling to make any money at it, and no one's coming out and giving you a big check to get started with. So you got to work your way up.
How do you deal with the fact, how do you overcome the fact, as far as for free promotionals, et cetera, where for my core series books, I can't give those away because those books I don't technically own. I own the rights to them, but in my case, Chris Kennedy Publishing is the publisher of those books. So I just can't decide to start giving them away for free.
Right.
Now, I've probably skirted the edge of, and given, put free excerpts out. Okay, so how do you get books? How do authors that have publishers and they have certain rights, promote, what are the different ways they can promote their books? We talked about maybe free excerpts, or maybe they write a separate short story what are the different ways that those people can market their books?
Well, one of the most common is to put a small, maybe the first chapter of your next book at the end of the first book, and it leads them to go to your next book. The other thing is, like you say, something related to it that shows your writing style, and then mention that book in there. Oh, I've got a short story that's in that same universe. Well, and at the end of that, you'll say, go to this site to find more books, or list your books at the end of it. And if you happen to have books that are in Kindle Unlimited, then there are promotions that are specific to that. So your publisher has you with books in, say, Amazon with the Kindle Unlimited format, then you can link to that, and that way they get in there, they can have their small monthly fee. They can join Kindle Unlimited. It's like $10 a month. And they get up to 10 books at a time and just rotate them through. Then the author gets paid by page read. So much a page. So if they even don't read the whole book, at least you're getting something from it. And you're getting exposure. So that works out really well that way.
Okay, so when we come back, we're going to talk more about how he puts newsletters together and sends them out, and dealing with mailer light, which is enormously fun. See you back after the break. I'm Fred Hughes. This is The Next Chapter. And we're back, and last segment, we're going to finish up talking to Bruce Thobois about marketing your books. And as Bruce has already explained, it's not just about newsletters. It's about all these other marketing opportunities that are out there that he provides them. I mean, I'm sure there's some other folks out there that do it as well, but we're not talking to them today. There are various platforms that are out there that will push audiobooks if you have them, push Kindle Unlimited if if your book is in that category, push ebooks. And it sounds like to me there's a wide variety of methods to get you excerpts of your book. I think the important thing is you can't just put your book title up and your back cover data up. You need to show people a sample of your writing.
Yes, you have to get them exposed to what's going on. That you put a book out, you write your book, it's a great book, but no one sees it. So in order to do that, you have to promote it in some way. And there's a variety of ways of doing that. We use Mailer Lite, not exclusively, because there's other ones available, but it's one for newsletters. And it's very simple to use once you get into it, as opposed to some of the other ones that are complicated. And it allows you a better opportunity to get your material out there. So that works really well. And Mailer Lite, even if you want to do this yourself, you can, obviously. There's some training to take. There's some things to do as an author. And if you have the time to do that, that's great. And you can learn as like Mailer Lite, MailChimp, different ones that you send your emails through. And you get these newsletters out, and people seem to love them. But the back of your book is obviously in that back material. You want to have that next book listed. You want to have something short that says, hey, here's my next thing going on. And if you want to just put a little short story, or hey, I'm in an anthology now, here's how you get to my anthology. I can throw your link into that anthology promotion. So those will be done. So it makes it a lot easier for you that way.
I don't need you to tell me the author's name, but of the folks you either are currently representing or have represented, what's the largest mailing list you've managed?
7,000.
7,000. So that's 7,000. So that actually bumps up into the next tier at Mailer Lite, doesn't it?
Yes, it bumps up. You start out like $10 a month, and as you get more, you're making money, so they bump their fee up based on the number of subscribers you have, because they're transmitting this much stuff to them. And so, some people start out and they have like none. They're starting as basic, and they work their way up. So that one's free or $10, and it goes up $15 the next level, and you go up $30 the next level. But there's a big jump there. The first one's 1,000 subscribers, then you go to 2,500 subscribers, and to 5,000 subscribers. So it jumps up in varying increments. And then that works out.
So that author every month, or however many times a month they desire. And I'll steal some of Bruce or Alan's thunder that, I mean, you can put a newsletter out every week. I know that some of the, what do they call them, indie publishers, like my publisher, Chris Kennedy, puts out a weekly newsletter. I only put out a monthly one. There's not that much happening in my life that I need to put it out more often. But an author that's got 7,000 subscriptions, folks, pay attention to that. That's 7,000 people that are interested in his books that if he drops the newsletter, he just informed 7,000 people of his next book that's coming out. More importantly, that person, if you buddy up to him, can mention your book in his newsletter that will go out to 7,000 people. Now, I do it in mine normally, that I'll drop a comment on a friend, or it might be somebody's book that I don't even know the author, but I read the book and I liked it because, hey, I write because I like reading books, and so I still read books, and so I'll still drop a, hey, I just read in the newsletter, I just read this and it's great. Here's the link to here's the link to Amazon. So that's a big deal. If you can get, and we're not talking Brandon Sanderson with the 7,000 subscribers, because he's probably got 100,000. But if you can get Brandon Sanderson to mention your book in his newsletter, then you're going to sell some books, because people will buy it because, well, Brandon said buy it, and that applies to a lot of other people. So, and believe it or not, it's not that hard to get someone, if you become friends with them, to do that. So I do it for people, and I know that people have done it for me in their newsletters. So anyway,
which begs the question, how do you become friends with these people? And there's a variety of ways. There are groups that you like, Facebook groups for authors. You have your author page, like on Amazon, and people follow you there and they see what you're doing and befriend you. And then you can also go to these conventions, and they're all over the country all year long. I go to a couple myself just to keep in touch with my clients. And you can Zoom a lot, but it's great to be in person with them. And so that's really important, that you market yourself by networking.
Oh yeah, I mean, and I remember the first time, I went to conventions before I became famous, and was a fanboy. And even after I became an author and went to some conventions, I was more a fanboy than I was a professional author. And I remember going to at LibertyCon this year I went, and was walking down one of the main corridor out right past the where you picked up your badges and everything, and Dr. Charles Gannon was there, and I'm a big fan of his writing, and we had met a couple of times, but he's Dr. Chuck Gannon, and I'm just, little Fred Hughes, and not so little, but anyway, and he called me by name, Fred, it's good to see you, and I'm going, damn, Chuck Gannon called me out by name. Okay, I guess I've made it. Anyway, Bruce, Alan, thank you. And I keep almost calling him Bruce because I knew him as Bruce for a while and didn't realize that he preferred Alan. But Alan, thank you for being on the show today. I'm sure you enlightened everyone as to what newsletters can do. But that's it for this week's show. I'm Fred Hughes, and this is The Next Chapter.